Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden.
Where we continue to follow the capture and killing of Osama bin Laden now.
Those are just some of the scenes overnight as thousands of Americans gathered in celebration of Osama bin Laden's death.
Former Navy SEAL Rob O'Neill says he has thought about the mission every day since that May Day in 2011.
For multiple conversations you had with Rob O'Neill over the past year and a half, how'd you get
access? And you described that his head kind of exploded when you hit him.
I actually hit him 3 times because I shot him twice when he was standing and once on the ground.
That is the fucking American badass right there.
Go, go, go. We are not going for fame and we are not going for bravado. We are going for the single mom who dropped her kids off at elementary school on a Tuesday morning, and then 45 minutes later she jumped to her death out of a skyscraper.
If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator.
I'm Rob O'Neill, and this is the Operator Podcast.
Welcome back to the Operator Podcast. I'm your host, Robert J. O'Neill. It's great to be with you again. It's been a little over a week since I've recorded a podcast. I've got some other projects I've been working on. Obviously, they're not as important as talking to you, but they're going to be fun, and you can be involved, and I'm going to tell you about them a little bit later in the show. This is a special Friday edition, which is a good thing, because all week long, all anyone's been talking about is the chaos in Washington, D.C., and let me just call it a State of the Union. It was an address to, both sides of Congress, but a joint session, if you will, but it's basically a State of the Union address. Interesting. We will touch on it a little bit, but that's all anyone's talking about anyway, so I didn't really feel the need to get into that too much this week, because the further it gets on, the more fun it gets, because you start to hear the excuses after the foolishness. You start to hear just the silliness in D.C. And, to say silliness in D.C. is like, all right, I know. Like, it's like saying deliciousness at a bakery. That's just what it is. So some chaos in D.C. They don't like change. They certainly don't like getting caught being so corrupt. So it'll be interesting to see where this pans out. So we'll talk about some new projects today, touch on a little bit of current events and stuff like that. But I'm excited. I got to tell you about my new sponsor, American Financing. The average person today, almost lost my desk there if you saw that. The average person today is feeling the financial strain more than ever. Expenses are up, wages aren't keeping pace, and many people are finding it nearly impossible to make ends meet. With little left over after covering the basics, it's no surprise that many people are resorting to credit cards just to get by. And if that's your only means, obviously they're going to raise the prices. So these are carrying balances as high as interest rates in the 20s and even the 30s. If you're a homeowner and you're stuck in this cycle of mounting debt, you need to call my friends at American Financing today. Their salary-based mortgage consultants are saving homeowners an average of $800 a month, helping you put your hard-earned money back where it belongs. Plus, if you act now, you might even be able to skip your next mortgage payment. You might want to listen to that one again. Skip your next mortgage payment. There are no upfront fees, so it costs you nothing to find out how much you could save each month. It's time to break free from the stress of debt. Call American Financing today and take control of your financial future. Their number is 866-889-5154. That's 866-889-5154, or go to americanfinancing.net/operator. Go check out americanfinancing.net/operator. American Financing. But, we should, I guess, touch on what's happening, my opinion of what's happening with the new administration in the office, with the basically the Department of Government Efficiency has just shown us so much of what's happening and how it happens, and how much you're being ripped off. With the government, basically our government takes probably about right around 50% of your paycheck. So you got to consider that if you work all year, you got to give everything to the government until about June, and then you get to keep some of the money until the end of the year type stuff. And if you're a worker, you should at least be concerned about that because you earned it, man. I mean, but they're taking it and look what they're using it on. They're not using it on the United States. They're using it all around the world. And they put these fake names on things and they form shell companies below those things. And they give people who are involved different salaries for stuff and different positions and bonuses. And you've seen some. I'm not going to go through the list because I've talked about him before, and you probably saw him this week when the president brought him up to the point where he had to say, this is all real. And they're really wasting your money. It should concern you, and you got to, I know that there's the left, there's the right, but you got to get past that. Well, I mean, you got to figure when Donald Trump came in, he wasn't exactly a Republican, but you have to run on one of the tickets, unfortunately, and that's just how it works. So he's the head of the Republican Party now by far. Because he came in with America first. He came in with your best interest, left or right. He wants to save you money. He wants peace. He wants a secure border, a good country, energy, stuff like that. And if you see the way it's spun, the Make America Great Again is a phrase that they shortened it obviously to MAGA. And now, like, you'll see people unhinged saying, like, fuck MAGA. It's like, really? Now, does that mean making America great again? What's your problem with that? And I would ask too, I do ask people this, why do you hate Donald Trump so much? Maybe not you, but there are people out there who they just despise him. I mean, look what they're doing with Tesla right now. Elon Musk was the darling of the left, and electric vehicles were the wave of the future. And now they want to kill him and desecrate him, Elon Musk, and now they're attacking Teslas, the cars themselves. They're burning the charging stations. I think the Biden administration put like, how many billions was it? It was a lot of money towards charging stations. They built like 8, and then now the left is burning them. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's just a weird, like, well, so we had the thing with Zelensky in the White House. You've seen the footage. And he goes in there dressed like a hobo. A hobo going to a shitty tennis match, basically, is what he looked like. And if you notice, too, he does that because he does it everywhere, and he gets hugged and kissed by every goddamn European, I hate to say the word leader, heads of something, hugged and kissed and loved and adored and money. Because he has to look like the war fighter. And people even say that he's a president at war. He doesn't need to wear a suit. Come on. A president. I keep bringing up his wife because have you seen the stuff that she buys? Through your tax dollars, by the way. One of the things she got was, I forget how much it was, how much the car cost. It was a Ferrari or something like that. Seriously. But like an $800,000 Ferrari. And they put it under the war fund for like presidential transportation, a Ferrari, because she deserves it. Lots of nice jewelry on that woman too. And then even I think Tucker Carlson mentioned when he was in Davos for whatever, which is one of the most expensive places in the world, most people there were Ukrainians. A lot of people on the take, a lot of money missing. And it's just, it's part of the gig. And then you saw what happened this week this hatred is blinding people. And then the Democrats are just in trouble right now because, they've lost the media. And they've lost a lot of their leadership. And in their defense, their leadership has been good as far as keeping their people in lockstep with each other. It's been really good about that. But now Pelosi doesn't care anymore. She's gone. And they can't find a leader. And so they're listening to their handlers. And I don't know who their handlers are. They're obviously the money people that just, like, have you seen the thing where they just read the same script? Like, what would you do if you're a lawmaker and one of your handlers said, here, read this, walk out there, do your little twirl, read this, and come back. I would say no. That's not my idea. I mean, advisors are great, but you can't just tell me what to say. But they can't find leadership, and now they're forced because the media's lost it, and people have seen what the media's done, and they're trying really hard, but no one's watching them anymore because they're loons at the media too, because they're in on the corruption, and so now it's kind of like we have to we have to come up with our own stuff. We have to be our own leadership. So and they're dealing with people now that were placed that aren't. I mean, they're not qualified to be in the offices they're in, but they think now that clicks and likes on social media mean votes. And that's why I see him doing these ridiculous Have you seen the superhero dance they're all doing? And you got these, Jesus Christ. Like these old geriatric women doing the superhero punchy. Who thought that was a good idea? And who was around that knew it was a bad idea? And you didn't say anything. Just kind of hung them out to dry with that. And they just keep doing it over and over. Has anyone told the 85-year-old woman the purple hair thing's not a good look for her? And she's in charge of appropriations, of finances, where she was the chairman. But the Dems have completely gone off the rails, and their approval rating is 21%. And they just keep sticking to their guns. It's like they say they have a messaging problem. It's like you don't have a messaging problem. You have a policy problem. And then you got Al Green at the State of the Union, standing up there with his cane and his ponytail. In his defense, if you've not heard him talk in an interview, even though I vehemently disagree with pretty much everything he says, he's very well spoken and he sounds like he's smart. But all he ever does is talk about impeaching the president. He did it the entire 4 years in the first term. He's doing it now. He got kicked out, said he's going to draft up articles of impeachment, obviously because of racism. I mean, obviously that's their go-to. There's a couple things they always have. They have racism. They have women's health care, or whatever they call it, affirming health care and women's health care. They say those names too. Just affirming health care for a child. Oh, you mean mutilating him and castrating him? Okay, that's health care, affirming care, so they don't kill themselves. And we're going to find out in a couple of years what some of these people let happen to their kids that's going to drive them to suicide. And then you'll notice the only people screaming about the transgender. I don't want to get into transgender today too, but the only people screaming about transgender are the adults, because the adults are the ones who push this, and now they got to stick to that for the rest of their lives, basically. But anyway, Al Green, so he gets kicked out, which was, that was planned. His plan the whole time was to stand up, scream at the president, get booted so he can draft articles of impeachment. That's what they're doing. And then when they were censuring him, which is, I guess, a government way of punishing you, which means absolutely fuck all. Some of these motherfuckers need to go to prison before, and it's frustrating to watch it because they're not going to. The powerful will always protect I hope I'm wrong, but they always protect the powerful. Even look at the Epstein files. On the campaign, the Trump campaign, they're like, we're going to release the Epstein files. Okay, now we're going to release the JFK files. They said that a lot. Now they're saying, well, we got to make sure there's no national security implications in the files, in the JFK. It's like, all right, there's national security problems with the Epstein list. Well, that must mean he was working for someone. Where's the connection? Which government agency, maybe foreign, was he working for so he could get footage of these people so he could blackmail them? And that's what China does to these people that won't say China. But Epstein and JFK, it's like, are you going to tell us? And why haven't you told us? Because again, we're back to they've stopped realizing that the government works for you. And the government's way too big, by the way. But so Al Green gets censured, and then the Democrats, typical style, get on the House floor and they start singing "We Shall Overcome," which is a song that slaves used to sing, which is kind of insulting to the people who sang that in the fields. Like, they're singing "We Shall Overcome." But it's insulting to the equal rights stuff. They don't care because it's a political move. So singing this, by the way. the Democrats, you might not know this, they are the Confederate Party. They were the South and pro-slavery. Democrats were. The party of the Ku Klux Klan. I'm not making this up. The party of Dred Scott, the Southern Manifesto, Jim Crow. The party that's against school choice, even now. Why? You got good kids that want an education. The Democrats don't want them to have a good education. Think about that. Why? Well, if we keep them uneducated, they're going to vote for us. It's all about their power. It always has been. And the thing I think with the Democrats is, going back to the leadership, it's a leadership issue, meaning there are some good Democrats, but the crazies are in charge. And what they tell the younger Democrats is, if you don't do exactly what we say, we will primary you. We will run someone against you in your primary, in your district, so you'll never see another general election. So that's taking my power again. That's how this whole thing works. There needs to be a way, America first, with some Democrats, hopefully some veterans. My God. I've always said that the good thing about veterans in Congress is both sides will get into a room and negotiate. Not anymore. That needs to come back. Someone in the Democrat Party there's no leadership in the Democrat. Well, there is weird leadership, but there's no who's going to be the next person to run for president. There's no real person like that. I mean, they're trying to get Gavin Newsom to do that, and he's got his own podcast, and he's even trying to change his way, but that's a dude that if he's selling you a used car, run off the lot, because he'll tell you anything. He'll change his mind. I mean, there's so much bad stuff about him out there. He's going to be the next candidate. And, he's sharp and he looks good, but he's, you know how he is. But then you get these other Democrats on TV, these young congresswomen who are saying, yeah, they're deporting people now because they want to put us back in the fields. Talking about we're going to bring back slavery. Now it was Democrats that fought in favor of slavery. But when these people, does it annoy you at all when these people say they're going to put us back in the fields? It's like, well, first of all, you've never been in the fields, okay? Let's be honest. You're a congresswoman. Your biggest problem is waiting an extra 5 minutes for a manicure. But this is the kind of stuff that they say, and they've said it a long time, but now they're no longer they're no longer really being covered by the media, and it's a problem. I mean, and if you can't see what's being uncovered, it's just sad. Like Hunter Biden just came out and said he can no longer afford life. His house his house was destroyed in the California fires, but the weird thing is, it wasn't magically. Every house around it was burned. I'm not sure if you saw that coming, but because of that, the property or rent or whatever went up, and now he can't afford it, so he blames it on that. Now, this desk is killing me today. He can't sell paintings anymore. Really? Because, you were averaging $45,000 a painting when you were an artist, when your dad was in office. I think he made a total, his last art was sold in December of 23, and I think he'd made a total of $1.5 million on paintings. Now he can't sell anything. But, you can see the influence there, too, and how the books are cooked. And it's just, the corruption is insanity. And we're seeing it, and now they're fighting tooth and nail saying that Trump's trying to end Medicaid. And Social Security, there was a woman being paid who was 100 years older than the country. Good for her. I got to find out what she's eating. I haven't been feeling well lately. But, he's suing the guy because he hacked my computer that for a while for a long time, the media said was Russian disinformation and all that stuff. But I just don't understand the national security issues with Epstein. And what else happened that we just found out? The number this administration found of illegals was 21 million in over the course of 4 years. 21 million people in here. And we don't know who's who. And they haven't forgotten about us. Just because the election's over doesn't mean they're not here. The last administration rolled up, get a load of this, 100 members of ISIS. Okay? And they deported or held on to 8. And they let 92 ISIS fighters back into the country. So where are they now? Are you concerned? You should be. But that's the stuff that they're uncovering right now. And still, Democrats are going to fight them tooth and nail. You won't see a single maybe on the censure there was, but you're not going to see a single Democrat vote to go with just because they're told they're told by their handlers to hate Donald Trump. And you got to kind of ask yourself why that is. But that's what's happening there. I don't want to get political. I always say that. But I had to touch on a few of those things. Let me know, though. Hit me up in the comments of the Operator Podcast, at the Operator Podcast on Instagram. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, and I will retort on this. This is a special Friday edition. I will give you my response on a special Monday edition because we have big stuff coming up. Now, I've been telling you about Mando for a while now when I brought up how stinky little fobbits are and stuff when you're even just training or whatever. When we were training, we would have a thing called Zodiac acid. I've mentioned that too. Don't try to get it, but that's just stank nuts full of whatever. It's bad stuff, and you're also wet with seawater. What I'm getting at is like Mando takes care of all of that. I even have some with me right now. This is the bourbon leather, the full body deodorant. This is created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. This is clinically proven to block odor all day, control your stankin' ass for up to 72 hours. Mando deodorant products options are solid stick deodorant formulated and powered by mandelic acid to stop odor before it starts. That's very important. Getting ahead of it. Spray deodorant, aluminum free, ideal for the hard to reach places. And once you get to my age, places are hard to reach. But the smell of the Mount Fuji deodorant immediately caught my wife's attention. I've mentioned this before too. She basically told me, you cannot wear anything else when you're around me. She thought when I was using the spray deodorant that I had lit a candle or something. It was just the deodorant. She loves the new stuff, and I don't need to embellish on the benefits. I like the smell, I like the feel, and even when you got to take a Ranger shower, we got the wipes for you too. Mando Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice. I get the deodorant wipes for the Ranger showers and the mini body wash. And free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you use code THEOPERATOR at shopmando.com. shopmando.com. And the code is THEOPERATOR. And you can smell fresher, stay drier, boost your confidence, and you won't freak out your teammates and or comrades. So shopmando.com, shopmando.com, code THEOPERATOR. So I need to tell you about my newest sponsor here at the Operator Podcast, Ridge Wallet. I was one of those guys that I would buy the designer wallets just, in case when I pulled it out to buy whatever, people would think I was cool or, I don't know, chicks dig it, stuff like that. And then there's an issue with once you get a couple bills in there and it couldn't fold, and I'd have trouble getting credit cards out, even in line at the convenience store to buy whatever I'm buying. And it slowed everything down. And I just thought it was cool at the store because I paid, I don't know how much for it, but look at this thing. Look at Ridge Wallet. This holds up to 12 credit cards plus cash. It's slim as hell. There's over 50 colors and styles that you can choose from. It's made from premium materials like aluminum, titanium, carbon fiber. Every Ridge Wallet has a lifetime warranty. This is literally the only wallet and the best wallet you'll ever own. It'll give you peace of mind, too, that it has RFID technology, keeping you safe from digital pickpockets. That's the next revolution in thievery. Over 100,000 5-star reviews. And losing your wallet is the worst, especially when you lose one of those fancy ones. You got to go buy another fancy one. But with the Ridge AirTag attachment, you'll know exactly where it is before panic kicks in. And then panic can kick in when you lose a wallet. Nothing worse than that. Right now, Ridge is having their once-a-year anniversary sale. So you can get up to 40% off at ridge.com/theoperator. Head over there right now to ridge.com/theoperator. Check these out. You see the biggest sale of the year. After you purchase, they will ask you who sent you here. Make sure you tell them the Operator Podcast sent them there. get one of these wallets. Go check them out. They're awesome. That's ridge.com/theoperator. And obviously the Ukraine thing, just the way they're making it sound, I think people need to do just a touch more research on that. Because the original agreement was the United States and NATO are not going to move any further east towards Russia. And that was in the early 90s. We're not going to move. You're not going to move. We're going to be good. And at some point, we got to a point where Russia wanted to see if they could become part of NATO, which is kind of odd. But I'm not trying to justify an invasion of Ukraine. But part of the issue was with what the United States itself was doing, along with part of Britain, where we kept moving east. When I went to Lithuania, right around 2000, they were trying to become a member of NATO. So Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, we went to all those places. I went to Lithuania. Part of our team went to Estonia and Latvia. And then Poland too. Everyone starts becoming NATO countries. They tried to join NATO. They got into NATO, and then we're continuing to push east. And then Ukraine, obviously, that was a red line. Ukraine's a red line for Russia. And the reason they didn't want us expanding was because they didn't want us putting military. We put bases everywhere. I don't know if you noticed. Putting our military closer and closer to Russia. And we were putting missiles there too. And they're saying they're defensive missiles. But how would you feel if China started putting missiles in Mexico, which, I mean, is not unlikely? That would be the case for war. I mean, President Kennedy, when Russia was moving to Cuba, John F. Kennedy said we're going to consider that a preemptive nuclear war. And that's how serious this stuff is. So we're doing that. And I think I forget who it was, but Russia said, well, you can't be putting your missiles here. And I think it might have been, was it Blinken? Anthony Blinken? No, couldn't have been. Whatever, I forgot. But so a diplomat said we can put our missiles anywhere we want. And you're just antagonizing. So we're there with that. I'll get more in depth in that later, just because you got to. I was the way where everything the United States does is right. We're always right. We're the good guys. And I believe we are the good guys still, but boy, our politicians are not. And they're in it for their own power. They're in it for money. And so but there's going to be a negotiation, but they need to get a lasting peace, not a ceasefire. And it's all shady because you're talking about the minerals there that lead to the chips, that lead to artificial intelligence, which is, I mean, it's hard to say what the future is now with artificial shit. We might not even be here next year because of artificial intelligence, but that is that's my just a 3-minute spiel on Ukraine. And you got to with everything, you got to try to see both sides of what's happening. But yeah, so we'll see. Zelensky will wear a tie next time, and they should be involved in whatever negotiations. They're going to happen, and there's going to be hopefully a lasting peace. So we like to see that there. So what is up now? Oh, so the new projects, if you haven't seen it, I just went to The Flowery in New York, and now we're in all the Floweries in. So I was in Staten Island yesterday. We got them in Manhattan. We were like a meet and greet. We're rolling out the operator cannabis, which I think is important. Really pushing to help with PTSD now, non-alcoholic PTSD, because that's, even me personally, that's led me to nothing, and it doesn't work that way. So the cannabis is a good way to do it. It's fun to get out there and meet. This is actually the new shirt too. I'm sure I've showed you this before. The Fire Like This is it used to be a bazooka, but now it's a hand rolled. But we had fun out there. I got to meet a lot of people, a lot of New Yorkers from Staten Island. Man, they can talk, boy. If they start talking to you, pull up a chair. You're going to be there a while. But we had a blast. The Flowery's awesome. Great people. Cool environment. And no one's ever smoked a joint and gone and started a bar fight. So as far as I can tell anyway. But that's our push. So that's kind of fun. Operator Canna. Great new product. But what I do want to close with is there's a show coming out, a mini doc on Netflix. That'll be on Monday, so that's March 10th. And it's Manhunt Osama bin Laden. And it's going to be really good. And they did such a good job with it. I haven't even seen it yet. And I don't even know who's in it with me. I know it's a lot of intel folks. It's actually based on who found him, which I think is really cool. I'm excited to see that too, because those are the smart people that were working for years. And we really don't know what they did. It's going to be really cool to hear from their point of view. I know Cofer Black is in it, complete stud. Agency guy, like he ran into bin Laden a few times, I think before 9/11, and like called back and said, "Hey, he's right in front of me. Do I have permission to fire or whatever?" And he was denied. But yeah, he's in it. I think Admiral McCraven's going to be in it, and it's going to be interesting to see how they broke it all down. I think they're going to talk about trials and tribulations of what was happening the entire time, and then obviously we're going to get into how it was sold. I don't know which analysts are going to be there. I'm really excited to see that because I met all of them. No, it was a handful. And that was the thing on the bin Laden raid. Like before that, we did the bin Laden raid in May of 2011. But my team and I got back from Afghanistan right around February of 2011, I think. And I was the senior enlisted advisor on an outstation in Jalalabad, Afghanistan. So we had different outstations set up all over the border, basically, for cross-border operations. So like running sources. The agency was targeting a lot of people in Pakistan for drone strikes and whatnot. Because if you can believe it, the bad guys were in Pakistan. So it's always the same thing across the border. The Americans are too damn dumb to come get you, or they're too worried about public opinion to come get you. But when I was on it was like a European resort. The CIA does a good job, by the way, when they set up shop some places. Like this place, outdoor CrossFit with like turf, gyms, bars. I had my own room with my own shower, which is huge when you're quote unquote at war. But what was cool about it is I was working right now. See, my job there was, as running the outstation, was to also talk to the agency pretty much definitely every day, but pretty much all the time, just to compare notes and whatnot, unless it was too important for me to see, and they'd kick me out because I'm just a scummy enlisted Navy SEAL. But some of the bin Laden team that had been working bin Laden for years was there, and I didn't even know it. No one knew it, that they were there. And I would joke with them too at fellowship and say, well, it's too bad we never found bin Laden because that dude's a ghost. He's gone. And they were so good that a lot of them knew that even some of the disinformation that they were putting out to fool Al-Qaeda and Pakistani intelligence, like remember the whole dialysis machine for kidney failure and living in caves? Well, that was all bullshit because he didn't have those things. He wasn't living in a cave, but we knew our people knew that if Al-Qaeda heard us saying that, they would say these Americans are so damn dumb. They think he's in a cave on dialysis. And the reason they did the dialysis that way was because a lot of sources will just come to tell you enough information to get themselves paid. So when dudes would say, yeah, I saw bin Laden, well, how'd you know it was him? Well, I saw the dialysis. The analyst would say, well, or the targeter would say, well, you didn't because we made that up. Pretty smart. Those are the smart people too. Like I said, the way I describe myself is I was smart enough to carry a sledgehammer and a gun and then turn me in the direction of the room and I'll go in it. And I know a lot of people have never experienced this, but if you've never been shot at with an unsuppressed AK-47 in the same room, it's really scary. It's really loud too. But someone asked me the other day, it's like, well, you've done that before. Why would you go in that room where someone's got an AK? I'm like, I don't know. I guess I'm just as dumb as my dad, something like that. But then when we got back to the States, obviously, and I think I've told the story how we were recalled, and eventually after a period, we were sent to a base where this team was, and I recognized a few of them, but not all of them, and that's where they said to us, the reason you guys are here is this is as close as we've ever been to Osama bin Laden. And then we obviously trained for a while on a structure that looked like bin Laden's house so we could get to know the features outside. And it was one of those things, too, where tell me what you know, not what you think. So if you've not been inside the house, don't tell me what it looks like. I'll just figure it out when I get there. Because if you tell me when you go through the front door, there's definitely going to be a right turn first, there won't be. There will be a left turn. Or when you come to the front door, there will not be any fighters in this house. There will be 5 fighters in that house. So don't tell me what you think. If you don't say we see 3 men, 5 women, and 10 children. Don't tell me that. Just tell me how many people. And then I will figure it out when I get there. So we got into that room. We were told that, and then we were training on the site. And we did that ad nauseum. You know, China just built a site just like bin Laden's house. They found it on like Google Earth or something, just like it's a compound, that weird triangle-shaped thing. Yeah, they made one of those. No one knows why. And I've seen people say, well, it's probably so they can train on American tactics. No, they didn't. It's a movie set, probably. And it's like, well, that was a complex house, man. How'd you take it down? It's like, well, don't talk yourself into an asshole, but don't make it complicated. The guy in front of you goes left, you go right. Keep doing that over and over. You'll be fine. Don't anticipate too much stuff going on, because the stuff you worry about is not going to happen. It's the stuff you don't see that's going to. That's why you bring a Belgian Malinois with you. Oh, didn't see that guy in the closet, but thank God Cairo got him. But yeah, we trained on that, and then we got to know the team, and then we Admiral McCraven was there too, so I think he's going to be interviewed in this. I don't think he's ever done an interview before. I know the targeting team has never done this type of thing before, and it's on Netflix, so it's going to be there. It's called Manhunt. I'm pumped. I'm going to watch. I'll give you some more details about that on my special Monday edition. This is my special Friday edition. So enjoy your weekend. Don't get unhinged. Take a deep breath, and you're never out of the fight.